everybody. It's that math mom back again with another set of videos. These next few videos that I'll be posting basically piggyback off of the skip counting videos that I've been showing you all over the last few weeks. I'm going to be using those skip counting songs in ways to help you improve your math fact fluency. I hope you guys enjoy. We are going to be using the skip counting songs to fill in a multiplication chart. Now, what I've done here is basically taken a piece of grid paper and I've zoomed in on the top left hand corner of it. Grid paper is available to all students. If your child is in Texas, these pieces of grid paper come standard with every math assessment that they take. In addition to that, if they want grid paper as they work through assignments, they can also request it from their teacher. This multiplication chart that I'm going to be making today is going to be a standard 10 by 10 fact table. The reason why I'm doing 10 by 10, as I've stated in prior videos, is everything I'm going to do is based in third grade. Third grade is where I have the most expertise. But as I get to doing more videos, I am going to work on skills in the lower grades, in addition to connecting these skills that I'm showing you all up to higher grades. So that way you have an idea of what to expect students to have getting to third grade and then what to expect beyond third grade. So again, this will just be 10 by 10. And believe it or not, a lot of this students come in already knowing, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. The biggest thing though, before we actually get into constructing this, is making sure that you find a way to separate the factors from the products, because we want them to not only be able to build this, but we also want them to be able to use it properly. So the first thing that I'm going to do to set this up is I'm going to list the factors. I'm going to list them both horizontally and vertically, every digit from 1 through 10. Starting with an X in the corner to represent multiplication. Then I'm going to number 1 through 10. Whatever I do vertically, I'm also going to do horizontally. Okay, now to ensure that the factors are standing out separate from the products, I'm also going to highlight what I've just written. Okay, now that we have that set up and ready to go, we're going to first fill in the ways students have learned to count prior to third grade. As we know, the first thing any child learns how to count by is 1. I'm going to go to the first row labeled 1 and fill those in horizontally. So there's 1 here. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm going to do the same vertically. So I'm going to go to the column that has the number 1. That's here. So 1 is there. 2, 3, 4. Okay, in addition to counting by 1, students should have knowledge of also counting by 10. That's probably the next set of numbers they learn how to count by. So I'm going to first go to the row that's represented by 10, and that's at the bottom. There's 10. 10 is already there, so 20, 30, 40. Okay, now that I've completed that horizontally, I'm also going to do it vertically. So I'm going to find the column labeled with 10, and that's here. 10 is already there, so 20, 30, 40. And I know I've done this correctly because 100 is what I should end with. Okay, now the next thing your student has probably learned to count by prior to third grade is counting by 5s. So again, I'm going to do that same thing horizontally and vertically, starting with the row label 5, which is here. 5, 10, 20, 5, 30, 35, 40, 45. And I know I've done correctly because 50 is what I come up with. Okay, in addition to doing it horizontally, I'm also going to do it vertically, starting with the column labeled 5. 5 is there, so 10, 15, 20, 25 is there, so I know I'm counting correctly. 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50 is there, so I know I did this correctly. Okay, now the last thing that your students should have come into third grade knowing how to count by is counting by 2. Now, they may not have learned it using that same terminology, counting by 2. They may have learned it as doubles. In those prior grades, you learn to figure out what 1 plus 1 is, 2 plus 2 is, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 4, and so on. So we're going to fill them in thinking about the way that they may have seen it prior to third grade. Starting with 2, double 1 or 1 plus 1 is 2. Double 2 or 2 plus 2 is 4. Double 3 or 3 plus 3 equals 6. 4 doubled or 4 plus 4 equals 8. You double 5, that's 10, and I know that's correct because it's already there. Double 6 is 12. Double 7 is 14. 8 plus 8 is 16. 9 plus 9 is 18. So again, the same thing that I did horizontally, I'm going to do vertically. This time I'm going to find the column that's labeled 2, which is here. 2 and 4 are there, so double 3 is 6. Double 4 is 8. 10 is there, so I know I'm doing it correctly. And 20 is double 10, so I know I did that correctly. Okay, now, as you can see, students come in knowing a lot of these multiplication facts. They know how to count by these 1s, 2s, 5s, and 10s. So a major portion of this chart is already filled in with what they should come into third grade knowing. The rest of this is why I made the skip counting songs. We're going to use our skip counting to fill in the rest of this chart. Now, as we know, when kids start third grade and they go into multiplication, they may have trouble keeping count. So what I do with this is basically use it as a warm-up starting off. They use that time in the morning practicing those skip counting. I check over each one. And parents, learning the songs for you it makes it even easier to check their work because you know how the songs go and you can see where they may have miscounted. Once they have established the skip counting and they incorporate it into this, instead of it taking up the entire warm-up time, now it's just a portion. When my students would come in, the first thing they would do is make their multiplication chart. And because they made it, they can use it on whatever they want. They can use it on their daily work. They can use it on assessments. As long as they create it, it's theirs. Now, no, I don't let them use the same one every time. I want them to rebuild and rebuild so they can get a grasp of not only doing it effectively, but doing it quickly. So again, it became just a portion of the warm-up. First, do your multiplication chart, then work on these problems. But again, that took a lot of time, a lot of practice, and making sure that you are consistent throughout whichever method you choose to implement this. We are going to start with using the 3 song to help us fill in a part of this chart. All right, so I'm going to start with the row labeled 3. We have already 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Now we're done. Now that same thing that I did for the row of 3, I'm going to do for the column of 3. So starting at the top, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Now we're done. Okay, now we're going to go to 4s. Using the 4s song, I'm going to fill in the row and column that represents 4. Okay, we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. I'm going to do that same thing with the 4s going vertically. Starting at the top, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. Notice that even though there was only a few of the boxes missing, I still go back to the beginning to make sure the correct numbers listed. All right, now let's go to 6s. Okay, I'm going to start with my row labeled 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, and 48, 54, 60. So as you can see, that's labeled correctly. Do the same thing, counting by 6, going vertical. Here's my column labeled 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, and 48, 54, 60. Okay, let's do 7s now. Starting with my row of 7. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63. And don't forget 70. I'm going to do that same thing with 7s going vertical. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63. And don't forget 70. Okay, now I'm going to go to 8s. Starting with my row of 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. Okay, the same thing going vertically from my column of 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. We have one last little square to fill in, but again, we're still going to sing the complete song to make sure that everything else is in the right place. Okay, starting with 9s, my row of 9. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. We're through. 90's there, so I know I counted correctly. Okay, let's try again, going vertically. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, and 90. We're through. And there you have it. We have completed this entire multiplication chart just by using what we learned in prior grade levels and combining what we know from the skip counting songs. Also, keep in mind, if you build this, no matter where you are, if you're at home, in your classroom, you've basically made a little cheat sheet to help you get your multiplication facts done faster. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And as always, everybody take care.